Okay, Be'ezat Hashem. So we're gonna, even though we're Daf Lamed Hey, we're gonna start from the end of Lamed Dalid Amud Bet just to get into the subject. So the Gemara says, Ze Omer Shel Avotai, Veze Omer Shel Avotai. We have two people that each one are claiming that the field or a certain property, a certain item belongs to their parents. Meaning each one says, oh, it's my parents, it's my parents. Amar Rav Nachman, Kol Dalim Gavar. What do? Whoever is stronger, whoever has more strength, he's the one that grabs it, and he's the one that's going to be zocheh. He's going to be the owner of this. Says the Gemara, what difference is this? Why is this different than the case of you have two people that they both have a document saying that they received the same item or the same property on the same day? So you have Reuven that comes and he says, and he shows us a document that Levi gave him a certain field in the day. And then Shimon comes and he has a document that says this exact same thing. He says that again, that he got the same field again from Levi the same day also. So which one do we believe? Rav says, Rav Amar Yachaloku. Rav says we have to split it. We split the property in half and we give it to each one. Shmuel Amar Shuda Dedaini. We the judges, they see whichever one they think is more it has more rights or is better for this, and they give it to him. Meaning it's up to the judge's discretion. So why is this different than the first case, right? Why is this different than Rav Nachman's case? What does Rav Nachman says? He says, Kol Dalim Gava, whoever is stronger, you get it. Why over here do we see Yachaloku, or the judges decide? Says the Gemara, Hatam Leka Lemekam Ale de Milta. Hacha Ika Lemekam Ale de Milta. So it says the Gemara, by this case the case of two identical documents on the same day, you're never going to be able to fully establish the case. Therefore, we don't say Kol Darim Gaval. When we say Kol Darim Gaval, which means that whoever is stronger, Kol Darim, whoever is more violent, whoever is stronger, Gaval, he's gonna surmount. He's gonna be better, right? Why do we say that? So there's Mefarshim that they say because whoever knows that he's right, he's going to fight stronger. Why? Because he knows that eventually, the one who knows that he's wrong is going to be weaker, is going to fight weaker. Why is he going to fight weaker? Because he's not going to put so much effort into fighting for something that he knows that someone is going to be able to come along easily afterwards and disprove him and show that he's a liar, right? So the one who it really belongs to, he's going to put more effort into getting it, and that's why we say Kol Dalim Gaval. But over here, since it's impossible to prove who it really belongs to, right? So in that case, Chachamim said either Yachaloku or we leave it up to the Dayanim to decide. Says the Gemara, Umayshna, what difference is it? Mehadetnan Hamachalif para bechamor v'yalda. If a person buys a donkey with a cow, okay, with a pregnant cow, meaning he tells the guy, he says, I want to buy your donkey, and instead of instead of paying you, I'm going to give you a cow. Now this cow happens to be pregnant, and it gives birth, okay, or or a person that sells his maidservant, and she gives birth. Okay, so each one is now saying that the baby belongs to them. So the one that's saying that the person that sold it, he says, listen, the cow gave birth or the maidservant gave birth before I sold you the maidservant, before I took the cow, or before I took the donkey. So that means that the baby belongs to me. And the other one's saying, no, it was born after you sold it, after the transaction. So the baby belongs to me. What's the halacha in this case? Says the Gemara, Yachaloku. We split it, right? So why don't we say the same thing like Rav Nachman that Kordalim Gava? Says the Gemara, Hatam lehai itle derara de mamona, ulehahu itle derara de mamona. So says the Gemara, in each case, a person has a clear claim to the money, right? Meaning that each one has their own side equally, and you can't really, like, again, you cannot really establish, you don't know. It wasn't like back it wasn't like today where you had a watch and you were able to say, oh, the baby was born at 45 and the transaction was at 40. You can't establish something like that. But in the case of Rav Nachman, I demar lo demar, I demar lo demar. Says the Gemara, in the case of Rav Nachman, it belongs to only one person. Over here, in the case that we just brought up with the donkey and the maidservant, it could equally belong to either one. But in the case of Rav Nachman, it can only belong to one person, right? What was the case of Rav Nachman? Rav Nachman said that if there's two people that are fighting over a property, right? They're fighting over a property. They say, one person says it's my father's, the other one says it's his father. It can only belong to one of their fathers. It can't belong to both of them. But over here, in the case of the donkey and the maidservant, the cow and the maidservant giving birth, both of them have a legitimate claim, meaning both of them are right in their, meaning both of them have a proper claim, because we don't know when the baby was born exactly. That's why we have to split it, and we don't do like what Rav Nachman said, kol dalim dava. Okay. Amri Nardai, the people of Narda, they used to say, Im ba echad min hashuk vechazik ba en motziin ota miyado. If a person, two people are arguing over something, and then a third person, a random person who has no claim to any of this, he comes, he grabs this item, and he's the one now that holds it, it belongs to him. En motziin oto miyado, we do not take it out from his hands. Detani Rabbi Chia, gazlan shel rabbim, lav sheme gazlan. If a person steals openly, gazlan is a person that steals during the day. Ganav is a person that steals at night because he's afraid of people. Gazlan steals out in the open. So if he does it of the Rabbi, he's not considered to be gazlan. Okay, says the Gemara. Rav Ashi Amar, Rav Ashi says, Le'olam shme gazlan. Really, he's a gazlan. Umay lo shme gazlan. But why did we say lo shme gazlan? He's not considered to be a gazlan. Shelo nitan leheshavon. You're not able to return something like this.
What is the connection? Xela. The original owner, fine, but it's an action. It's an action of Xela.
So that's what he's saying. He's saying that Rav Ashi says that it is a gzela. Even if he steals from the Rabbim, he does it from the Rabbim, it's going to be considered gzela. However, the problem with gzela is what? V'heshiv et hagzela asher gazal, right?
So it's 50% gzela.
You have no, after a person steals, he has a mitzvah, right? It's called lav shenitak leaseh. But in this case, who is he going to return it to? He can't return. So the same thing over here by our case, that what? If a third person comes and he steals he grabs the item that's in dispute, he grabs the item that we're in the middle of fighting over, right? Who is he going to return it to? He can't return it to the first one. He can't return it to the first guy. He can't return it to the second guy. Why? Because neither of them have a full claim over it. So they will never be able to. He will never be able to give it to the proper person. Okay. We learned in the Mishnah that you have to have a chazakah of 3 years from day to day. Amar Rabbi Abba, I dalile, ihu gufe, tzina deperi, lealtar have chazakah. Says Says Rabbi Abba, if we see that that the person, okay, he's putting fruits on the other guy's back, so then you don't even need a chazakah for something like this. Why? The very fact that you see that he's putting it on the other person, he's helping the other person with it, which means what? It obviously belongs to the other person, right? So Reuven is claiming the field belongs to him. However, we have witnesses that come and they say, hey, we saw Reuven putting a basket of the fruits onto Shimon, and Shimon is claiming that it belongs to him. In this case, says the Gemara, you don't even need a chazakah of 3 years. It right away belongs to Shimon. Why? Just the act of him putting it on Shimon shows that what? It really belongs to Shimon. So he doesn't need a chazakah. Amar Rav Zvid says, Ve'im ta'an ve'amar leperot horativ ne'eman. Says Rav Zvid that if Reuven, he's now going to claim that what? That the reason why he put the fruits on the guy's back was because Shimon was a sharecropper. Shimon was an aris, right? In this case, says it's not going to be considered a chazakah. Says the Gemara, v'hani mini b'toch shalosh, aval le'achar shalosh lo. This is only if it's within the 3 years. But if it's after the 3 years, then we don't believe him already. Okay. Amar le Ravashi le Rav Kahana. Ravashi said to Rav Kahana, ile pera achate, my havelele me'bad. If the guy really is a sharecropper, right? What's gonna happen? The guy is a sharecropper. He's gonna come and he's gonna claim, the field is mine. Look, you see, he's putting the thing on me, and that's it. He's gonna lose out completely on his field. Amarle, ibaile lemechuye. The owner should have publicly proclaimed that when he's putting the fruits on Shimon's bag, that what? He's doing it as a sharecropper, meaning he's putting the food on his back, and he should at least tell witnesses, hey, you see me putting this? You should know that I'm doing it because he's my sharecropper, not because he owns the field. Because says the Gemara, if he doesn't do this, then he's really going to be in a problem afterwards. Because afterwards the guy can claim that the field really belongs to him, and then they're going to see that he's putting the food on his back, and they're going to have to believe him. The eat lote mahachi, and if you don't say something like this, if you don't make the proclamation that the reason why you're putting it on his back is because he's the sharecropper, hani mashkanta desura dechata behu b'mushlam shanya ilen tipok ala da bilo kesef. Says there's it's called the mashkon of the people of Surah, meaning mashkon is a security, it's a gate, it's a security that of the people of Surah. What would they do? What they would do is they would have a field. Okay, a person says, listen, I need to borrow $1,000, 1,000 zuz. Okay, the guy says, okay, no problem. How are you going to pay back the loan? He says, you know what? I have a field. This field, it gives approximately 100 zuz a year. Okay, the value of what it gives is about 100 zuz a year. I'm going to give you the field for 10 years. You're going to work in the field for 10 years. 10 times 100 is 1,000 zuz. You take it like that, and then at the end of the 10 years, I don't pay you anything. You give me back the field. Now, doing this also avoids, there's a problem of ribit, right? What's ribit? Interest. Why? Because now let's say the field, one of the years, instead of giving only 100, it gives 200, right? So that means that he got the field for 10 years, but instead of only getting 1,000, he got 1,100 because one of the years he got an extra 100. Okay? Vice versa is the solution. Vice versa is the solution, and I'm going to explain why. So if he gets more, it's going to be considered a ribit, right? So if the field gave more any of the years, that means he got more than his 100 per year, and then he's in a problem of ribit. However, what's the solution for that? The solution for that is because it's a risk. Why is it a risk? Because like we were just saying right now, that since it can also possibly be a loss, so that means that when the guy is giving the loan and he's telling him, listen, I'm giving you the field, and the field gives approximately 100 every year for 10 years, right? So it's in a way it's an investment. It's not a paying back the loan. It's like a form of investment. Now he has a possibility of losing, he has a possibility of winning. That already is not considered to be interest. Okay, so when they would do something like that, no. When they would do something like that, so there's a problem. Why is there a problem? Because now the person who's working in the field for 10 years, what is he going to say? He says, it's my field. Look at it. I'm working in the field for 10 years. Normally, we only need 3 years for chazakah, right? This person is working in the field for... We said after 3... Yeah, but we said after 3 years, first of all, you throw out the shtar. That's number one. Number two, who's the one that has the shtar? The person that gave the money. Right? Who's the one that has the shtar? The person that gives the money. So what is he going to do? He's going to hide the shtar, and he says, you see, it's my field. I was working here for the past 10 years. Oh, you only need 3 years. I was working here for the past 10 years. It's my field. What is it? How are you going to get around that problem? Right? You said he's working in the field for 3 years. How are you going to get around that problem? So says the Gemara, if he hides the shtar by him, what's the other guy going to do? Who should be believed? So he said, Mitkani Rabanan midi idbe deati be lide pseda. Chachamim are going to make us a takana. This whole security thing, this whole thing of where the guy can give the field for 10 years instead of paying the loan. Chachamim are going to give us a solution like this, where the guy can end up stealing the field. Ela. So what's the real solution for this? Ela. The person that owns the field, what does he have to do? He has to protest. He has to say, hey, this guy is working in this field. This guy is working in this field, but it's really my field, and it's only given to him as a security. So what do we see from here? We see from here that a person has the obligation that if it really belongs to him and someone else is working in the field, he has the obligation to speak up and to make sure and to publicize the fact that that this guy is working in the field only as a worker, not as someone that owns the field. Okay, Hachanami. So in our case also, he should have protested. He should have showed everyone that this sharecropper, this worker that's actually working by him, is only a worker and doesn't actually own the field. Because otherwise, if he doesn't do that, then even though he's just a worker, he's working in the field for 3 years, the guy can say, if a Jew comes and buys the field from the goy, from a non-Jew, he's considered to be like the non-Jew in the manner of the ownership of the field, which means ma'akum en lo chazaka ela bishtar af Yisrael haba machmat akum en lo chazaka ela bishtar. The same way that a goy, he never has this concept of chazakah, meaning chazakah, if a person owns something for 3 years, there's a chazakah. It's established to be his. However, this chazakah is only valid for Jews, for Jew to Jew. However, for non-Jews, it's not. So, if a Israel buys a field from a non-Jew, right, since the non-Jew never has a chazakah, he also is not going to be considered to have a chazakah, and he's going to have to hold on his document for more than 3 years. Okay? He has to have the shtar. Amar Rava, ve'i amar Yisrael, and if the Jew said, lididi amar li akum deminach zamana meheman. But if the Israel says that I bought it from if he says that the non-Jew bought it from the Israel, he's believed. Understood? What does that mean? That means that the non-Jew, the Jew is claiming that the non-Jew told him that he bought the field from someone else. Okay, so Reuven bought the field from the non-Jew. Reuven bought the field from the non-Jew. Normally, what happens if he buys a field from a non-Jew? There's no chazakah. He has to keep it for thing. But now, what is he saying? He's saying that the non-Jew told me that he bought the field from Shimon. In this case, Reuven is believed, and he doesn't have to have. He has a chazakah, and it's going to be okay. And obviously, the Gemara is going to ask on this. What does that mean? How is this possible that just because he said the non-Jew told him, how is that believed? But that's going to be the Gemara of tomorrow. Be'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.